Okay, this video is going to be, does stress increase cancer? And of course the answer is yes, but the question is why and what can one do about it? So first of all, in this picture, here's an overview of the stress system. So something stresses a person and their brain sends a message through the pituitary to increase the release of hormones from the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland releases epinephrine in particular, also called adrenaline, and it also releases cortisol, a glucocorticoid. From the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, often called SANS, S-A-N-S, norepinephrine primarily is released. Now, what does it do? Well, first of all, it'll decrease the function of the immune cells, in particular the natural killer cells, which are really important to remove cancer. So you don't want weakening of your natural killer cells. And why would it do that? Because in stress, it's memorized in med school as being chased by a tiger in the dark. And the whole point of stress is to survive for the next 5-10 minutes, Being chased by a tiger in the dark, all you're worried about is running, climbing a tree or something. You're not focused on, healing, a chronic wound or something. All right. In addition, stress causes clampdown of all the arteries except for the ones going to the active muscles. And that vasoconstriction decreases blood supply to those tissues, which includes your viscera, includes your pancreas, the breast, the prostate, the colon, all these spots where people get cancer. So tissue hypoxia can induce a Warburg effect. Now, short-term tissue hypoxia is not going to do it. It's when it's chronic, prolonged, okay? And that's when it becomes relevant. So the acute stress associated with playing sports or, everybody's got ups and downs in their lives. That's all normal. But when somebody is chronic, psychologically stressed, day after day, week after week, month after month, that can lead to increased risk of cancer and related problems. Okay, so this picture here, we talked about the pituitary, we talked about the sympathetic nervous system, vasoconstriction. This other picture over here, they come from this article, Weighing Stress and Cancer. It's a review. We're going to go through, I'll show you the main article as well, but here it is if you want the reference. Basically, stress does everything you don't want for cancer. It decreases the function of your natural killer cells, your dendritic cells, all the immune system cells that function to remove cancer, and then causes this non-specific inflammation, which can cause more tissue hypoxia. On top of the vasoconstriction can cause tissue hypoxia. And it even promotes these immune suppressor cells, which all allow the cancer to grow more. So it's surprising how bad stress is for increase in risk of cancer growth. Now here's just a couple papers to be aware of them. You can see the reference if you want. They're all just going to tell you the same thing. I'll show you one more of those just for what it's worth. You'll quickly be able to find a couple papers in this if you look for them. Okay, here's another one. And then I'm going to summarize all this stuff. Here's another one. Now I'm going to summarize it. Okay, chronic social isolation can be very stressful for some people. Cortisol, CNC means cortisol and catecholamines. The catecholamines are adrenaline and noradrenaline. They're also called epinephrine and norepinephrine. And basically, the stress hormones, cortisol and catecholamines, they cause immune suppression. Like I said, you don't need your immune suppression when you're being chased by a tiger and you just want to live the next 20 minutes, all right? But you do need your immune system to remove cancer cells, both the primary tumor and the metastatic cells and the micrometastatic cells. It's your immune system that removes them. Stress does so many bad things, it's rather surprising. It increases MMP, which means matrix metalloproteinases. Those are enzymes that digest through the extracellular matrix around a cancer, helping it to invade outward into the blood vessels and metastasize, okay? Stress causes activation of the platelets. It makes them more prone to clot. And when they're activated, they cover up the metastasizing cancer cells, and the immune system feels the platelet on the outside of the cancer cell, and it doesn't recognize it as foreign. So they shield the cancer cells. That's not good. So they increase the risk of metastases. Now, cortisol and catecholamine, they make a person less able to sleep when they're stressed, and we need to sleep. We heal best while we are asleep. They make the blood thicker. It increases, the acute phase reactants, proteins from the liver for the acute inflammation response, and that will include fibrinogen, which is a bridging molecule. It sticks red blood cells together, makes them more prone to clot. Factor VIII, antihemophilic factor, von Willebrand factor. Okay, all of these things make the blood thicker, increase blood viscosity, more tendency to clotting, and they decrease oxygenation of tissues. Hypoxic tumor milieu favors cancer. Okay, they also cause hyperlipidemia because they're going to crank out more lipids and more glucose into the blood because you need lots of energy when you're stressed out, running from a tiger, climbing a tree and stuff. So they're doing what they're supposed to, cranking up your blood glucose and your blood lipids to provide energy. But high blood lipids increased risk of tissue hypoxia. Okay, chronic, transient hyperglycemia when you're exercising or something, or you have a normal life stressor, that's normal. It's not a big deal. But chronic hyperglycemia around the clock, that's not good. That's a diabetic type of metabolism, and that favors cancer. The best paper is Michael Brownlee paper, Banting Lecture 2004. But you can see all this stuff. Chronic hyperglycemia leads to hyperglycemia in endothelial cells and all the problems associated with that. Now, of course, there's stress equivalents. Lack of sleep is a stress equivalent. Caffeine, your coffee and tea, all this stuff about drinking caffeine, it's all bogus. You don't want it, okay? Any billion-dollar food's going to have all this promotion. It's bogus. Stay away from it. Why would you want to mimic your stress response? That's an example to me how so many people are just so stupid. It's sad. They're all like, oh, my life is too much stress. My life is too much stress. I need a cup of coffee. Yeah, brilliant. You just increase your stress with the coffee and you're going to sleep less deeply tonight. Stupid. Okay, catecholamines, they're vasoconstrictors to the viscera. Viscera just means all your bodily organs. Okay, and basically all the ones that are the common killers with cancer, breast, prostate, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, colon, get vasoconstricted, more hypoxia. Okay, that hypoxic tumor milieu, the area surrounding the cancer, that favors the cancer. And all these things are elevated. Hypoxia, inducible factor, tumor necrosis factor alpha, vascular endothelial growth factor. What does that do? And of course, we talked about MMP, metallo matrix proteinase, which digs through the extracellular matrix, makes a path for the cancer cells. And then there's angiogenesis, formation of new blood vessels. That increases metastatic spread. Not good. If you got a cancer patient in your family or friends, do what you can to help them mellow out. Okay? Catecholamines can function as siderophores. Sidero meaning iron, phore is to transfer. So Fe means iron, ferrous. And so I know they transfer iron to bacteria. I have to look it up. I haven't looked it up yet specifically if they function directly as a siderophore to cancer, but it makes sense that they might, because a cancer is basically a transformation of a eukaryotic human cell into something essentially like an anaerobic bacteria. The big difference between eukaryote and prokaryote, bacteria and human cells, is we've got mitochondria that work and they don't. Okay, so when you make the mitochondria dysfunctional, which is the Warburg effect mechanism of cancer initiation, you then make the cancer cell kind of like an anaerobic bacteria. So I know cancer cells have tons of transferrin receptors. That's the transporter protein in the blood for iron. So when there's higher iron levels, people have increased risk of developing cancer. You take, matched patients with hepatitis B, hepatitis C, aflatoxin exposure, and you have one be iron overloaded, the other one who's not. The ones who are iron overloaded get a lot more cancer. Cancer needs lots of iron to grow. So that's a little bit of a separate subject, iron and cancer, but it sort of came up because the catecholamines can be siderophores in the context of bacterial infections. Okay, excessive stress also increases viral infections. And of course, some viral infections are associated with cancer. It's almost as if some viruses can sense the cortisol level and become reactivated at that time. Increased infection means increased inflammation, means increased hypoxia in the area of the tumor. Not good. Favors the tumor over its surrounding tissues. Other drugs can potentially worsen the effects of stress. Of course, nicotine is a stimulant. Speed is a stimulant. Alcohol has like a mixed paradoxical effect, but it's definitely toxic to healing. MSG, MFG, aspartame are excitotoxins, potentially can make things worse for tumors, potentially. Sodium is a vasoconstrictor, can contribute to hypoxia. Okay, so what's the point of all that? The point is when you optimize your diet, you avoid all that stuff, and you optimize oxygenation of your tissues. Exercise is great because when you exercise, you get your lymphatic flowing all throughout your body 10 to 30 times more, and that helps your immune system to function. You want a healthy immune system. Okay, your sleep helps your immune system. Positive social relationships help your immune system. Having an attitude of gratitude. You say to yourself basically, look, I know I'm half screwed in life, but you know what? Lots of people are totally screwed, so I'm lucky for that, and I'll be grateful for that. Okay, I'm lucky to be alive and have the life that I've got. At least I got that. All right, having a purpose in your life makes you more resilient. You got something that makes you jump out of bed in the morning because you're excited to do it. And everybody's got to deal with a lot of tedium and boredom and stuff like that. But at least have a couple good things you're excited about every day. That makes a difference. Having a sense of control. That's another thing that I think, just knowing that you can do these things with your diet, your lifestyle, and your health, it makes you feel like you're not just a passive victim. I think a lot of patients just go, well, I got cancer. What a bummer. I got to go get my chemo. Well, you know what? You can do a ton of stuff to make yourself better. You can exercise a lot. You can get your priorities straight, your sense of purpose in life, your religious sense straight. Get your sunshine, get more activated vitamin D3. Learn about all this nutrition stuff. You want to avoid iron overload. You want to avoid calcium overload. You want to avoid animal protein. You want to avoid sodium. All those things will give you a better tumor milieu to make you healthier and decrease your risk of cancer growth, cancer progression. Okay. Stoicism is good. I like the Marcus Aurelius quote. A man should be like a cliff. All day, the waves break against the cliff, but the cliff is not moved. That's a good way for a man to be. Okay. Oh, I'll show you a little bit more too, like philosophically, how do I deal with some of these things? I like this quote from Arthur Schopenhauer. He lived from 1788 to 1860, and he said, "The best source of happiness comes from who the man is. A happy life is impossible. The highest a man can achieve is a heroic life." Okay? Basically, if you chase happiness, it runs away from you. So what you do is you just try to be the best you can, the most good that you can be, and it seems that just generates happiness. Enjoy the little moments when they happen, okay? But I like that too. The highest a man can achieve is a heroic life. You can strive to be great in some area, whatever it might be, in your personal relationships and how you help your family and how you work as a healthcare provider, whatever it is. But in striving for excellence, it makes you happy. It just does. Mediocrity makes a person sad. So those are another good reasons. Okay, religion makes a lot of people very happy. I think religion kept my mom alive an extra 5-10 years when she had cancer. I'm the one who screwed up because I didn't know about all this nutrition and health stuff back then in cancer biochemistry and pathophysiology. Okay, religion, like Christianity, it helps a person answer the metaphysical questions. Why am I here? What is the meaning of my life? What is the purpose of my life? What should I do? What is right? What is wrong? So anyways, just a typical example. I'll give you, like, my kid asked me a question. He said, "Dad, why are you so happy? Your life sucks. All you do is work and study. If my life was like yours, I would hate it." And I said, "I'm happy because I know who I am and what I am. You are sad because you haven't figured that out yet." And, self-improvement brings happiness. Helping other people brings happiness. And, just having a clear sense of who you are, what you're about. I shall serve my family and my friends, my patients, my God. And when my time comes, I'll know that I did my best, And I kind of vision, my own view of, like, how I view life is I sort of see myself as a combination of, like, a modern Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas, who study, the history of civilization, literature, science, and try to figure out what's the best stuff and summarize that and share it with other people. And basically, you can say to yourself, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Okay, 2 Timothy 4:7.